Right then folks, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. My name is Paul, I'm also called Knickknack. I'm the brains behind Knickknack's Old Peculiar, the world's most boring blog, and behind Knickknack's Daily Teaser, the world's most fun and enjoyable quizzes. Have a go now or else I will do something nasty, or just wave my finger about. On top of those, I talk about movies that I've watched, if I can actually find one I can sit still long enough for. I also talk about TV shows I've been watching. Last Saturday I watched the first couple of episodes of the new series of Doctor Who with Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor, but for the past few weeks I've been watching Star Trek Discovery's 5th and final series. Today is Friday the 17th of May, yesterday was Thursday the 16th, and I watched the 8th episode of the series, Labyrinths, and I wanted to tell you what I thought. Episode 8, Labyrinths, opens with a summary of earlier episodes and then shifts to show us the Breen warship, where Primarch Run, Tony Napo, and his crew are marking the death of Lark, Ilias Tufexis, with a traditional Breen memorial service. It also sees both Run and Moll, Eve Harlow, making a big speech. Meanwhile, the USS Discovery has arrived in the Badlands, in the location of the Eternal Gallery and Archive. The gallery itself is where the last piece of the Progenitor's map is located, and Captain Burnham and company need to make sure that they get to it before the Breen do. On top of that, and as Harel, the archivist who greets them, puts it, the archive is not responsible for any damage, dismemberment or death should the Discovery not follow instructions. Post-titles, we see the Discovery arriving at the archive itself, where Captain Burnham orders one last check of the ship before messaging the host, archivist Harel. Harel has a request for the captain. She's noticed that during her scans of the Discovery, there's a Quajon on board, one of the last survivors of the planet's disruption. She wants to see if whoever it is can help identify the one Quajon item they have in their collection. However uncomfortable Captain Burnham feels about having her ex, Book, David Ajala, aboard, she can only agree to his presence. She figures every little will help in dealing with the archive, little knowing what's actually going to happen. Now, what did I make of episode 8 of Labyrinths? I think we can certainly say I am impressed. Again. For starters, Eve Harlow as Moll certainly held my attention, especially as her character is now the leader of the Breen faction in this series, after she kills Primarch Rune. That little performance helped create quite a big climax to the episode. But it's not the big performance of the night, not by a long shot. A better performance came from David Ajala in Dual Roles. In order to win the last piece of the puzzle, the last bit of the map, Captain Burnham has to undergo a test in a virtual environment run by a AI construct modelled on Ajala's usual character, Book. And his performance in the Dual Roles shows the man's talent, I think, especially in terms of the accents. His usual one for the character of Book is a well-educated estuary accent, sort of southeast England, as it were. But for the AI construct, he uses a far more formal BBC English accent. You'd possibly have to watch the episode to spot it, and even then, I suspect a lot of us from outside the UK wouldn't necessarily notice it. It's, I imagine, something akin to a New Yorker being able to spot the difference between someone from the Bronx and someone from Manhattan, or somebody from Dublin spotting a Sanderford or Dunleary accent. It's that subtle, and it's something someone not local to a given area may miss. I spotted it because I'm English. I don't know if any of my American readers would notice it. They'd sound too similar, I think. But it is there, and it's very appreciated, and it shows us David Ajala has quite a good range to him, bless him, especially with accents. To be perfectly frank with you, though, Ajala and Harlow aren't the only ones showing their skills in last night's episode. The real star of Labyrinth is and let's be perfectly blunt here, is the woman whose series this is Sonequa Martin Green. She turned in quite a performance in Labyrinth, going from frenzied to thoughtful to self-aware to hit by a realisation of her own inner strengths, and goes through quite a lot of territory over the course of 58 minutes. And then at the end of the episode, going on to the absolute certainty of what she needs to do in order to get defeating the Brain. Her performance in this episode has seriously outdone her contributions to earlier series of Discovery. It's quite something to watch, and quite frankly, equally as frankly, I was riveted. I grant you, writers have a lot to do with a character's story arc, with how that character grows, changes and develops. But a good chunk of a character's on-screen life is down to the actor, and Sonequa Martin Green has done one hell of a job as Captain Burnham in Labyrinths. Please note, if, as I say, she is quite definitely Captain Burnham. Just as a last thought for you, I have to admit this episode got me thinking very vaguely, very, very vaguely, of Flash Gordon. Why? Partly because the Breen spaceship keeps coming out of the haze of the Badlands, the plasma storm of the Badlands as it does. Got me thinking of the spaceships in the old Flash Gordon's film series I saw as a youngster. The 1930s series were repeated on BBC One during the summer holidays when I was a youngster. The ship coming out of the clouds like that got me thinking both of them and the 1980 film. But that's really not the only thing. The thing that got me mostly thinking of specifically Ming the Merciless was the robes the archivist Harrell was wearing. They're also worn by Construct, played by David Ajala. Those pointy shoulders got me thinking of Ming the Merciless. It's what can I tell you except that in all the series when I was a kid, the one most futuristic bit of clothing you could see someone wearing had pointy shoulders. What can I tell you? Apart from, yes, those robes reminded me of Ming the Merciless, but like the archive set itself, are absolutely bloody gorgeous. With all of that said, done, dusted and swept under the carpet, what did I make of Labyrinth, of this 8th episode? I have to confess, I absolutely loved it. It is another fantastic piece of work, and Sonequa Martin Green as the main character, yes, she's been the focus of the series, but she's done a job of work in this particular episode. One that guarantees I will be watching the next episode next week. I will be watching episode 9, the Jonathan Frakes directed Lagrange Point, on the 23rd of May, and I will be posting my written and video reviews of it on Friday the 24th. In between now and then, I'm going to be watching the next episode of Doctor Who, the Stephen Moffat penned Boom, on Saturday the 18th, and posting my written reviews of it by Sunday the 19th. I will see you then. Until then, have fun, be good, live long and prosper and all that, and be seeing you